WWE rolled into Ottawa for the August 24 episode of Raw, headlined by a contract signing featuring Obafemi and Bron Breakker. What went down when they squared off was a big question heading into the show, but we also had a few other number one contender tournament matches and several other stuff. But we started things off with LA Knight and Solo Sikoa sending a warning shot to the Bloodline after dropping Roman Reigns and the Usos last week, kicking off the show with an in-ring promo that perfectly blended humour and serious story advancing work, interrupted by the Usos. Though the United duo accepted a challenge for a main event match later in the show, they got the last word to the light of the fans. A solid segment that showcased Sikoa's enormous personality. This is a great follow-up to last week's show closing segment on a night where the OTC was not scheduled to appear. As we then got Stephanie for Sikoa scoring her first victory in 4 months, defeating the Judgment Day Roxanne Perez in singles competition. The Prodigy put up a tough fight, working over La Primera, who showed signs of ring rust but shook it off for the most part down the stretch, overcoming interference from the Women's World Champion Liv Morgan and Women's Intercontinental Champion Raquel Rodriguez. Vaquero down Perez thanks to the arrival of Becky Lynch and earned a win to continue building momentum towards a championship opportunity. After the match, Lynch and Vaquero exchanged words, keeping the tension between them alive in what's becoming one of the best programmes on the Raw brand. So yeah, overall I'm going to give that a 6 out of 10. As we then moved on to number one contenders match, Rey Fenix and Dragon Lee, two of the best luchadors squaring off in the semi-finals of the tournament to challenge Roman Reigns down the line. And yeah, chance of this is awesome. Reign from the stands as Lee launched himself through the ropes with a tope suicida and White Phoenix on the announce table. Back in the ring, he delivered a big DDT for two. Phoenix delivered a rolling cutter to a charging Lee, then added a Mexican muscle bustle for the pinfall victory to cash his ticket to the tournament finals. An excellent match that highlighted two woefully underutilised talents. Fans in Montreal red hot for everything they did, and a result that enhanced the experience, that proved that sometimes the best thing WWE can do to win over an audience is just let the talent deliver in the ring. 8 out of 10 from me. Then ahead of their showdown, SNME, Obafemi and Bron Breakker met in the ring to sign their contract. Femi told Breakker that if he debuted in 2002 or 2014, he would have been the future of the industry. Unfortunately, he came around 26 and he's been the unenviable task of encountering the ruler. Breakker claimed that he proved he's the one guy Femi cannot beat. The heel continued narrative that Heyman may be closely aligned to Femi, angrily demanding the Advocate sign for the ruler. He used the distraction as an opportunity to deliver a cheap shot before Theory arrived on the scene. Until one beatdown ensued before Femi powered out, sending Breakker to the floor and drove his tag partner through the table. A strong segment with Femi sharing the mic, to borrow a phrase used frequently on TV, dog walk Breakker, outshining him on the mic. He looked confident and humble and stumbled once or twice while cutting a broad generic promo Breakker did. So yeah, as we then moved on to Big Cass v Javon Evans, Big Cass' first match in WWE in over 8 years, and yeah, potentially biting off more than he could chew. His size and strength advantage were negated at the time by the young AG speed and creativity, and he's forced to fight from underneath. Late on, the NXT export Court Evans knocked him from the top rope to the ring apron and rocked him with a big boot to the face to score the win. His lip busted and bloodied as evidence of the grueling competition he endured. Booking Cass to go 50-50 with Evans was a choice considering he's just made his return, but the young AG is not someone you want getting run over at this point either. Considering WWE kind of booked themselves into a corner, it was a fine match highlighting a decent match from both, and after match Judgment Day attacked, hinting at the next programme for Evans, which I'm next against. So yeah, 6 out of 10. We then got number one contenders match again, Penta v La Parker, with a place against Rey Fenix in the final at stake, and La Parker unloaded his arsenal on Penta, delivering an avalanche Spanish fly and trying for the bone breaker. The latter counter delivered the sacrifice and delivered a springboard Mexican destroyer to score the win and set up the match for his brother on next week's show. A fine match that paled in comparison to its predecessor earlier in the show. It's hampered by a lack of drama. Penta's been the obvious tournament winner since the bracket was announced, and losing to La Parker in the latter's first Monday Night Raw appearance was never really a consideration. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Royce Keys then returned to Monday Night Raw and brought OTM's Lucian Price and Bronco Nima with him. Driven to desperate measures by the attack by the Bloodline, left him bleeding and eating out of action. Keys led the former NXT tag team in a brutal beatdown of the Usos, LA Knight and Solo Sikoa, putting an exclamation point on Raw. The shocking return came at the end of a high-profile tag match that saw Jimmy and Jay isolate Sikoa before a hot tag tonight sparked the babyface comeback. Before a winner could be determined, the run-in occurred, resulting in a no contest. It was a hot close to the crowd in Montreal. Really reacted strongly to it, and there's an intrigue at top of Raw brand, something that wasn't coming into this week's broadcast. Suddenly Keys is a big star, there's an interesting new team around, and the Bloodline's dominance does not look a given. So yeah, 8 out of 10 from me, and overall Raw gets a 6 out of 10. There's a lot to like about this show, with some better than expected story stuff, equality and reaction, a big angle at the end of the show that sent fans home satisfied. Not everything hit, but the positives outweighed the negatives, and given the lethargic card for the night, it's a big win for itself. So yeah, 6 out of 10 from me. So that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.